All right, look at us, Cari Champion. We are
How
live
does
here on YouTube.
how does work, Auntie? How does work? Oh, we should put our coast. You're on the west. I'm on the east.
That is true. We should put our coast, and that makes this even more special. But what's so odd is like I'm in your hometown, and granted, I didn't grow up anywhere in New York, but you're on the east, I'm on the west, so
So
this is
funny.
very odd.
I'm in my New York. Doing my New York thing. I'm living my New York life. I love New York.
Mm,
I have a love hate relationship with New York, but I currently love it at this moment.
okay, well, New York does look good on you. I must say that it's like you definitely seem like you're in your element. I want to welcome everybody to our live chat, which we'll be doing the rest of this month. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're doing it all this month. We are trying. Here's what happened. Jamel and I, speaking of New York, she was here last. Was it last week? Met Gala Monday.
Yeah,
Gala
Met
Monday.
Gala Week. Mhm.
And I just went live because this is a tradition that we have when we are together. We go live. I have noticed over the years, though, dog. I got to tell you, when you go live, you have morphed as have I in different ways. You are a full auntie. Like you might be three E's. So I remember we're doing a live outside of the Met Gala. We go. We have a good time. I'm not ready to tell all the business. I'm a little conservative. Jamel, full auntie. She's like, and so we snuck into a party, and then we did this, and then you went on a promo tour telling everybody what you did. And I was like, what did she turn into this auntie and whatnot? And you the auntie that says and whatnot and what
Yes, I
happened.
am the auntie that does
And
that.
you rub your knees and whatnot.
I
And
sure do. I will rub my knees. I need a good knee rub every now and again.
when did you turn into this person? So I wanted to document auntiness in all of its glory and not run from it. And I'm doing it with my boo.
Yes, and people have seen us on TV before. We had the show on Vice. Cari and Jemele won't stick to sports. They've heard our banter. Remember back in the days when we would be bored as hell in Hartford, Connecticut, and would be going live on Periscope watching football at the bar.
Tell her how old we are. Yes. And me looking at the carpet thinking, is this my life? Is I carpet in the bar. This is
You-
that I have decided to choose intentionally. But it's fine. It was all good because it created so many things, a great career, a wonderful friendship. But the best part of it is that I don't know. I just feel like when people get to see us as we are, they get it. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever. It's a free, awesome, loving relationship, no competition, just friends chilling, doing a thing. And I don't
yeah,
think you get to see it that often, that authentically either. People do it, but not authentically.
yeah, I would agree with that. And, we always enjoy kicking it and letting people in. And so thank you to all of those who have joined. Go tell a friend, bring all your friends in here. And most importantly, and I will flash up the information, make sure that you subscribe to each of our YouTube pages
Yes.
because those clicks matter. And certainly those eyeballs matter. And of course, make sure that you listen to Cari's podcast, Naked with Cari Champion, available on iHeart, right? Anything else you would like to promote?
Yeah. Wait, do we need to put that somewhere? Oh, yeah, you do.
There you go. Look at that.
This YouTube thing fascinating. No, that's all I need to report now. I got so many. I'm hosting so many different things and doing so many things. But let's just stick with naked sports. Let's focus on that for the moment. The time at hand.
Okay, that
And
sounds
you
like a good
obviously can catch Jamel and I on CNN. We both are working contributors there. I am doing different shows. I primarily do a morning show now, but you guys can catch us on there all the time. And Jamel, you're gonna be back on there with Abby. I just saw Abby the other day. She said you was coming on.
Yes, that is true. I think I'm back in NYC next week.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Should we do it from are you going to be here on a Tuesday? Should we do this side by side?
I am not. I'm going to be in your favorite city in the world, and that is Detroit, Michigan.
I'm pausing.
Yeah, okay. What? Why did I get that uncomfortable pause?
I was like, is that my favorite city? I do love Detroit.
What?
I do love Detroit. I call it Detroit Vegas. I do love. If I grew up there, my life would be so much more different. I'd be so much more less complicated. You know what I mean? I feel like I'd be just a different kind of humble human. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like the complications are what make you unique. It's what makes you. I do. Like, I do think that is part of like who you are, and that is why I know I enjoy you so much. So, I would say I'm glad that you are complicated.
Doing this, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm rubbing my knee. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You don't have that rocking back and forth though. See,
go
that's
ahead. Go ahead. Okay, so we just was like, there's so much stuff that's been going on. So I wanted to talk about. Can anybody save our? Can Bill be saved?
That's right. And the Bill we're referring to is Bill Belichick. You were talking about complicated. Well, right now he's in a very complicated relationship with someone we think she's 24.
Okay, shout out to Pablo Torre for all his investigative reporting that he's doing, because he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. Pablo Torre, our former ESPN colleague, has been the Woodward and Bernstein of Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson's relationship.
So here's my thing. He's dating. Now we're hearing he may have met her when she was 19. We don't know. We don't know how old he was because she won't let nobody talk about it. But she's 22 or 23. I'm going to say early 20s, not far from tween, and or teen rather. And so she literally is in control. And what is it about a woman's parts that can control a man?
Yeah. Well, speaking of control, what really, I think a lot of people sort of looked at this relationship and why people were like, okay, what's going on here? To me, this interview that I'm about to play that Bill Belichick did on CBS Mornings, I think it was last month.
Yeah.
This is the one that got everybody ringing the alarm bell.
Jordon was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordon right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Woo! That was the interview where everybody was like, okay, what is going on here? And as you mentioned, Cari, our former colleague and friend Pablo Torre decided to do a deep dive, and he has perhaps unearthed through his own reporting, the reason why they won't be honest about when they met.
February 11th, 2021 is very important because of this other video that we found.
That only comes from high.
Jordon Hudson, 22, Hancock.
If I may, beautiful.
That was the first runner-up of the Miss Maine pageant last year. That was 2024.
First runner-up is second place, yes?
That is.
Just confirming for my brain.
Second place.
Thank you.
Correct. The detail I want to call your attention to, just for the timeline here, right, is how old she says she is. So this pageant, I can tell you, was March 2024. Okay, so deductive logic time. She is 22 in March 2024. So in February 2021, when they met on that flight using the powers of deductive logic, Jordon Hudson would then need to be how old? Michael Cruz Kane, who used to teach math to
19?
kids. Jordon Hudson, 19 years old.
Look,
19 years old.
She's 19 or she's 20. Who knows? Her birthday could have been, do we have a wiki on her yet? Her birthday could have been the following month. She could have turned 23 right after that pageant. I would like to say, she was giving me Beyonce Renaissance with the silver. I also would like to say she is a beautiful young girl. I also would like to say if she spinned one more time, she was going to fall down. I got nervous. The spin and the spin and the turn and the spin made me concerned. Bill Belichick is how old? 69?
I think he might be older than that, but I will double check. I'll get an age for you.
Okay. Well, I have been hearing different reports about this, not on the Pablo Torre level, but I have been hearing that Bill is very fond of her and that he thinks that she's extremely intelligent. He said as much, which is why she feels so empowered. There is no way in my mind, just common human connection as a woman, we know when we have a man under our spell. We know when a man wants to do anything for us. And he clearly has made it undeniable that he will do anything that she says. She has come into his life and taken over in a way that makes no sense. We got this man on the beach doing yoga, holding her up with yoga poses. We got him walking outside looking for a DoorDash with no shirt on. We have seen more of Bill Belichick in this way than we've ever seen him in the umpteen years that he was with the Patriots. We know more about his business than we've ever known. And that's why everyone, and from what we're hearing, his family is also concerned. It's like, wait a minute, why do we know so much about you? And you've managed your entire career to keep this mystery intentionally. Divorce, girlfriends, the whole thing, remarried. No one really knows much about what you're doing yet and still. And this is the thing that Pablo brought up. We didn't play this clip, but he said, you know what's interesting? That Ring camera video. The first time we saw him walk out with no shirt on looking for the DoorDash, that is a Ring camera video from inside someone's home. Her home. How did the Daily Mail get it? How did the Daily Mail get Ring video from inside someone's home? I have a Ring camera over there. I'm aware that people probably can see, but you would have to do some serious investigative snooping in order to steal the video from my Ring camera. Like I have to be doing some CIA sabotage type stuff that you want to get that information. There is this idea that someone, not Bill, leaked that video when it came out because it's a Ring video. You have the codes. Y'all know how Ring work. It's your stuff. You put it up. You set up the privacy marks. You know how this works. Now, I'm not mad at Bill because I like a young tender. We'll get to that later.
Ooh, you like a young king, huh?
I love a young tender. I do. But I have no problem with what Bill is. I love the love. But now we're hearing he may not make it. Right?
Yes. Yes, we are hearing that. And this was very interesting. Again, the Woodward and Bernstein of this relationship, Pablo Torre, who was on with another old colleague, Dominique Foxworth, talking about how Bill may not coach one game at the University of North Carolina.
And so the question everybody is asking is, are things so dysfunctional behind the scenes when it comes to the power struggle, when it comes to what they are telling Bill to do? Don't have Jordon around anymore. Stop behaving in the way that you have. Basically telling him for the first time, really, right, that you're an employee.
Now, you're an employee.
How come politics is up and mine's not up?
I got you. This is just week one, Cari. We'll make adjustments. But yes, I mean, the idea that this relationship has, I think personally, it has changed the way people look at Bill Belichick.
For sure.
And he's definitely a Hall of Famer. So I'm not saying that it's going to interrupt anything that he might get in terms of his legacy. But I do think, for lack of a better way to put it, people kind of look at him like a simp. And as the elders in our community used to say, that they look at him as henpecked. And people are wondering, like, so let me get this straight. You spent years in the NFL coaching the likes of Tom Brady. You told Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback.
You told him to kick rocks.
You told him to kick rocks. You know, Tom Brady has told many a story about how Bill Belichick had no problem getting all in his ass, right? But you got this 24-year-old, or however old she is, 23, 22, we don't know.
Early 20s.
Early 20s, you have someone in your life that is not just someone you're dating, but per Pablo's reporting, I think he called her a momager, which I died. Right?
Let's talk about the science too. When is your frontal lobe fully developed? How is this grown ass man letting someone who, I don't believe that her brain is fully developed yet, because when are her for 27? Like, I'm like, how are you letting her tell you what to do? And it is the power of the P, which I totally understand.
It's undefeated. It's undefeated. Throughout the history of time, it is undefeated.
It's taken down presidents. It's taken down heads of states. It's taken down businessmen. It's taken down, it's ruined careers.
I mean, it has done it all. And, you know, it is, and I guess that's the part of it, because if you're UNC, and then, you know, Pablo, again, he also reported that UNC told her that she needs to stay away from the football building. Now, Bill Belichick has refuted this. He was on SportsCenter earlier today talking about, when he was asked about her, he said she has nothing to do with UNC football. So he gave the "we're on to Cincinnati" response, essentially. So, but I will say though, it's not that so much dating a younger woman, though. I think, and by the way, for confirmation, Cari, Bill Belichick is 73. Girl, I lived in Jim Crow years old. So, and he is dating somebody in their early 20s. Okay. All right. So all I'm saying is that it's about your judgment and decision making. See, a lot of times, I used to say this about the NFL when it came to the marijuana policy, right? Is when you start failing multiple drug tests, or even in the NBA, because in the NBA, they only do 4 drug tests a year. You're getting just 4. That's it. So you pass the 4th one, smoke all the weed that you want. Now, since I don't think marijuana is on their list anymore, but basically it was a common sense test. All you got to do is make it through these 4. That's it.
No.
So with Bill Belichick, this is a common sense test. Bill, you probably shouldn't have somebody in their early 20s so much in your mix that your employer is looking at you like, what is going on?
Jemele, I also think two things are happening. One, he's old enough to stay stubborn, right? He will always stay stubborn. He's just, I don't know many 70-year-olds who are changing their behavior. But the other thing is that when he lost his job, when he had those losing seasons with the New England Patriots, I felt like he knew that he needed to change something, that his way didn't work anymore. When he realized no one really wanted to hire him as a head coach, when he was trying to find his way, there probably was a part of him who needed someone to say, let's try something different. And the way I think it's manifesting.
As in a 20-something-year-old? Is that what you mean?
I think it's manifesting like, look, this young girl's smart. She knows what she's doing. She's disrupting elders. She is not respecting her elders in the middle of an interview. People who are great journalists who've done this longer than she's been born. She's like, we're not going to go there. I'm like, oh, you are woefully entitled. I even in my 20s, when I speak to any of my mom's friends that way or anybody older than me that way, I would feel so disrespectful. And so her level of entitlement means that he has given her so much of his life, and there's so much more that we don't even know that he's given her, that he might be willing to do now that he's a certain age, and he's trying to, and follow me here. It sounds crazy, but I see him looking around the landscape and seeing how coaches are staying relevant and doing their jobs if they're not just a good coach and young and fresh ideas. The Deion Sanders of it all, like the way he went about changing Colorado. He's like, there's something to that. There's like, I could hear her in his ear saying, you just need a little bit of change. You need to be on social media more. People need to see you doing yoga. People need to know you have a personality. I can help you do that. You know, like I could see him falling for that because again, the power of the P is undefeated. So here is my thought process. Because they were floating this around. Do we have the sound of them floating around the idea that perhaps maybe there is a reality show?
Oh, I do not have that sound, but can you imagine? Are you kidding me? Bill Belichick. So basically what you're describing, Cari, it sounds like you feel like Bill Belichick is having a little bit of a, I can't say midlife because he's 73. Yeah. Is he having a late life crisis?
Sure. This is some sort of crisis. And or quite frankly, it could just be somebody being like, guess what? I like him young. I'm going to do that. Here's the thing. I don't think we laughed at it before. I've seen many interviews asking Tom Brady, would he rent a car for her because she's underage? And Tom's like, I'm not going there. This is not my business. I don't want to know. It's none of my business. I don't want to know. But what he is doing, I think many men privately are like, do it. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That being said, what happens in conversations like this, inevitably, because there are some men who are just like, it's Bill's business. Who cares? True. Let him have, his young queen, who probably juicing his pockets on unbelievable levels. But we're gonna leave that alone. They're saying, okay, let her do it. And one of their comebacks, Cari, is that if this were a woman in that position, that there would be less judgment and less shame about the situation.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, let's pivot to another person who was talked about, an actress, Tracee Ellis Ross, who we both love. When she talked about the fact that she prefers to date younger men, she called holy hell. Here is Tracee Ellis Ross with Michelle Obama.
A lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity.
A lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity. She said that she prefers to date a young king.
So
and
you're saying
they ripped Tracee.
So you're saying that it's okay for Bill Belichick to date. They're not giving him a hard time. The only reason why they're giving him a hard time because this woman seems to be all consuming. And you're saying it's more acceptable for an older man to be with a younger woman. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that a lot of men, in their defense of Bill Belichick, have brought up the fact that when a older woman says that she's dating a young man, there's not nearly as much judgment, or people people don't look at her like a creep, right? But if you have Bill Belichick, with a 50 years plus age difference, we're just like, something wrong with Bill. He a creep. He's not a good leader. So do you think that there is a double standard when it comes to men, when it comes to women dating younger men?
Can we put that on the
Yep, we're gonna put it up. Yep.
Yeah. Is there a double standard when older women date younger men? That is the question.
Yep.
Some sort.
Yep.
Of course there's a double standard. I was gonna say something, but it's just not true. I was like, I don't know too many older women who would date somebody 50 years their junior, but we got Cher with her boo. Cher's in her 80s, and I think her boo's in his 30s. So
yep.
I'm not going.
And Madonna too. Am I tripping? Madonna has a much younger man.
But you got to be, by the way, you got to be Cher or Madonna to do that. That's correct. The first thing, right?
Like an icon status.
Yeah, icon status where you just got one name: Madonna, Cher, Oprah, those kind of things, right? There is a double standard. I heard what Tracy said. We didn't play all of it, but what Tracy said, and maybe we can cue up a little more. I know how you do it. Jemele is doing the DJ tables also on his particular live. Tracy said she has always been attracted to younger men, or younger men are attracted to her. And she said she tried to figure out why. Drea, thank you, T-Love. Drea called hell for dating Jalen Green. Yep. That was extreme to me as well, but I didn't mind it. I was like, oh, yeah, you want to do it. 40, he 20, do it. I don't care. There could be legitimate love there. But Tracy's whole point was, which was a different circumstances between Drea and Jalen. Her circumstances were, when I date men my age, and I believe she's maybe 52, 53, 54, somewhere in her 50s, early 50s, they are toxic. There's her words, not mine, meaning they have a certain set of traditional views on how a woman should behave, how they should date a woman, what women should do. Here's the thing. My brothers and sisters in the struggle, our men, I love y'all, but y'all so far behind. Men of a certain age have not caught up. I don't want to put, I'm speaking from experience, because when Tracy said that, it resonated with me. I have a tendency to attract younger men, and I know why, because one, not only I'm fun and they're pretty to look at, but their energy is easy to be around. They are more open. They talk about different types of conversations. They don't have what they believe are traditional standards for a relationship and what a woman should do and versus what a man should be. And also they know they got to have a personality. We got to like y'all now. And someone who is self-sufficient and not so much like I'm as Unc would say, if you pay the cost to be the boss, you're gonna be the boss by yourself. Remember, that was Unc's words. I hate to because I know he wishing he had him at least a 29-year-old at this point. Now, we wish he had somebody but hitting 30, Unc. Hit somebody 30, Unc, at least. But you literally realize you're like, oh, I want a personality. I want someone to talk to. Outside of just being a provider, I want you to have a personality. I want you to be interesting. I want you to bring something else to the table. And men are like, whoa, when did this start? You know what I'm saying? When did this start? So I totally understand what she's saying. Don't you?
I do. I definitely do.
Your husband younger?
Yes, I did. I married a younger man. So I'm not. My husband is 5 years younger, and that's
you old.
And that has been my age range. He's the first person that I have seriously dated that was that much younger than me. Everybody has been within a 5-year window. Usually,
but remember that one time when we went to Vegas? That guy was. I'm kidding. Go. He ain't about to cuss me out.
Ooh, Cari, that's a story for another day. Another day. But no, generally I've stayed within a range because my mother, let me tell her business for a minute. My mother always dated so much older, and it was, my stepfather, God bless his soul, he just passed a couple months ago. He was 20 years older than my mother. My biological father is 10 years older than my mother. And I was like, why you want these old dudes all the time? And that was just like never really my speed, but I got it. And she always told me that she thought a part of the reason why she did date so much older, and not just the serious relationships, is because, she didn't have a relationship with her father. And she felt like she was looking for a father figure, and somebody who was stable. Because that's the other thing older men offer is stability.
Do they?
Yeah, well, depends. But that being said, to your point, Cari, I know that the times there was contentiousness in my mother's marriage, a lot had to do with my stepfather being very set in his ways.
Correct.
And and especially if you're an older man and you've been living by yourself for a while, or you've never been married, or whatever it is, the reality, because we experience this now as we get wiser. Notice I didn't say older. As we get wiser, it's just your level and ability to tolerate certain stuff is like gone. You know what I mean? And so it changes how you operate and how you move. And so I can understand why you would say like, hey, I would go out here and, it's the young dudes that are attracted to me. Now, long time ago, when I was out there on the dating scene, when I was single, it was younger men that mostly tried to step to me. Yep. And I would be like, yep. Sir, I'm sorry. When I was born, you were just a thought bubble. Like it's not.
I don't know why we don't embrace it. Bill Belichick didn't say that to Jordan. He was like, "What's up?"
Yeah, I mean,
like, why do women have a hard time being like, guess what? I do want to holler. It's what society has told us. And I don't run from it. Like and to Tracy Ellis's point, Tracy Ellis Ross, here's her point. She simply said this: once I get a whiff of that toxic, archaic masculinity that doesn't want to see life differently, meaning doesn't want to try something new, it has one stale thought that his father gave him on life and hasn't experienced life in a different way. I don't want that for me. I can relate to that. I don't want that for me. I want someone who is fun and exciting, and all of that. Also, I mean, we could do deeper dives on this and what that all means. It just means certain people like to feel a certain way in a relationship. If stability is the first thing that you seek, okay, I could see why your mom wanted to date an older guy. But I think the first thing that I want is, and I'm not talking about excitement. I just want somebody to keep me stimulated. And I'm not saying all old men can't keep me stimulated, but they, to your point, set in their ways, have a traditional thought, don't really try to do much. So I prefer to date young kings.
Ooh, look at that. Wait, let me make sure I put that on the headline. Ooh, let's make a headline here. You prefer to date young kings?
But let me tell you why. And you got to tell me if I'm right or wrong. And I need you guys to help me out here. I need some real advice. Should we do this? Should we ask for their advice?
Yes, go ahead. You're entering the danger zone because I'm very curious what the advice is. So all of those in the chat, Cari Champion has opened the floodgates and said, please give her some advice. Go ahead, Cari.
Girl, so I attempted to date an older king. I've dated one or two guys, not that much older than me, maybe 1 or 2 years older than me. So I decided to date someone who was older than me. And I thought, well, this will be nice. Stability, they say. Wisdom, they say.
I did. Okay. I know. And I nicknamed him your responsible king.
Responsible, they say. So this guy, this particular gentleman, was about not that much older, maybe 7 years older, but he was all of the things, but just it felt very different. It didn't feel like I was dating somebody in our generation. It felt like I was dating a baby boomer, someone in my mom's generation, because there is this overlap, right? And I remember consistently hearing him say things like, well, that's a good woman. Like he'd talk about anything and he'd say something about, well, that's how you know that's a good woman. And I had never heard that saying before, at least not in this decade while dealing with me. I'm like, a man identifying what a good woman is sounds to me, just my train of thought sounds very small, because you don't know what a good woman is. Like, I couldn't just give you a list of things and say, that's a good man. I know what I want, but I don't know what a good man, what a good woman does. If you mean cook, clean, help pay the bills, that's a good woman. Now, when I hear, I'm running for the hills because I'm all like, oh, if I don't meet any of those requirements, I'm not a good woman. And we had a conversation, and he's a few months into this particular gentleman, yes, a few months into dating, he was like, and I prefer a woman to go 50-50. On what?
Wait a minute. Time out. I need everybody who is on live to hear that. Cari got hit with the 50-50 in real life.
I said, what world are we? I have never, it was almost like my hair fell off. I had never experienced such a thing. I was like, what? You want me to, what do you mean? And by the way, what I am saying, we're not engaged. We're just dating. We're not getting married. We're just courting. You're not in the clear, my G. And you talking about you don't mind when a woman goes 50-50. You hit me with a 50-50? No way. Like, I'm literally like, hey, you should take me to that restaurant. He's like, you should take me. I'm like, take you where? How dare? How dare?
You were like, what? How dare you?
I didn't know how to process the information.
It was so foreign to you that you were like, I'm sorry, what?
I was like, did he just say that? What's going on? What's happening? Are pigs flying? No.
You probably thought did you think you were being punked, that this was
I
part
was
of
just like, I don't know what you mean. And he went on to say that it's always nice to hell no, I was right. He went on to say it's always nice to see a woman who doesn't mind, some shit kicks off, that she'll have my back. And I was just like, this is not the time nor the place. We're still getting to know each other. You still got to be lying to me. You can't be.
you still got to be lying.
You still got to be from your representative. This is not the time nor the place for you to try to pretend like you want me to see the underbelly. You're not in the clear yet. You know what I mean? That's like me taking my hair off on the first date. I'm not ready. You're not ready for that. You're not ready for that.
Okay, so now give it more context, because I know even though you had treated him to dinner before, correct?
Casually, like I do something
Casually,
like,
right?
okay, so Jemele, you know me. I am very generous. If I just do it at the spur of the moment. It's not a thing in my mind. I'm like, oh no, don't worry, I got it. You go ahead. Don't worry about it. I get it. Like whenever I feel the need, it's not constant. It's not all the time. But even if I ever in any other relationship that I've been in, I've never, even when I try to treat, men get very upset. They're like, don't do it. Or their ego feels away. Like I usually date men who will get really upset if I try to treat, really. And I've never been with somebody that's like, yeah, get that, or sometimes I do it as a, just as a treat. Or when you've been in a long-term relationship, I'll take you on vacation. I got this, baby. It's your birthday. Let me take you somewhere, or something of that nature. I don't think when you are dating Buns from, I don't know who that is. I don't
worry about it.
But I don't think I've ever been the kind of person, like, I just don't present like, yeah, let's go 50-50. And there was this whole thing when our sister Gabby talked about doing 50-50 and people were appalled. And then she came back and said, I changed my mind. Listen, I don't get into anybody's business. I just don't believe a woman should go 50-50 on a date ever, at any time, ever. If you are married, different circumstances. But if I'm splitting anything, then I don't need you. If I'm splitting the rent, I'm splitting the mortgage, then why not just do this by myself? What's the contribution? I mean, I know what the contribution could be, but it got to be, you know what I mean?
Well, Cari, this comment is interesting. Cari will stay single. No one wants to say it, but this logic is why.
Okay.
Okay. I promise you all, Cari does not have a problem.
Yeah, I was just
in this area.
I'm gonna go respond to that. That's the toxic man mad that he's.
Yeah, but here's, Cari, I largely agree with you.
People think they don't know nothing about my life or who I've been with or what I've done. It could be a choice. Imagine this. Imagine a woman being okay with being single and just dating. Imagine that. Imagine Tracy Ellis Ross saying all the things she's saying because she got a big, full life and she's okay with where she's at. And if she does decide to date, it's on her own terms when she feels like it. Imagine somebody being okay with that in this day and age. There's so many reports on women who are just like, I'm all set. I'm not dealing with that. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, you're married. You know how hard that shit is. Some people just don't want to deal with the shit.
So I am and granted, I was born in the 1900s, and I realized that this may be a outdated mindset, but I do believe in when you're courting that there is some procedural elements of picking up the check and all those kinds of things. It's like, I just think that that's just kind of standard. But also realize this is what I want, men to understand, is that I do understand that there is a difference between when you go out with a woman who it wants you to treat her in ways she don't even treat herself. See, the thing is, you and I, we just kicking it as homies, and we will go blow $400 on dinner and not even blink. Not even blink. Probably more while you play it. Like, you know what I'm saying? We will go out and like everything. If I'm on a date, you're not the first man to introduce me to Lobster or Surf and Turf or Mastro's or Ocean Prime. Like, I done did that shit myself. So I'm not requiring you to do anything that I don't do for me. Now, I understand the man who said, a friend of mine, to this day, I laugh at him. So like we laugh about this story. He told me this story about how he took a woman out on a date and she ordered a Long Island iced tea. Right? Okay. Which should have told him what he was dealing with. Right. And she, at this point, is over a certain age. And I'm like, girl, you should have left him long behind. So at any rate, not only did she order a Long Island iced tea, she ordered it all top shelf. Now it's about 50-11 liquors. It is 50-11 liquors in a Long Island iced tea, right? So it got tequila, all these things, and she ordered all of that shit top shelf. First of all,
we ready to fight.
That should have let him know he was dealing with a child, because
correct.
One, you don't put premium tequila, you don't put those premium liquors in a Long Island iced tea. I was like, so you should have known right there, you dealing with a child.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
And he was just like, that damn drink was like $22. And it wasn't that he couldn't pay for the drink. It was just that she had the audacity to sit up there and order a top shelf Long Island iced tea. I'm just like, you got to be kidding.
This is why this conversation with men versus women, especially in the Black community, because our traumas often coincide with our male counterpart, their traumas. Like my trauma could be, look, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going 50-50. And somebody could say, you're going to be single. And I'd be like, by choice, trust me. You know what I mean? But I understand why our traumas don't coincide with their trauma. And sometimes this is how it comes out. I remember having Hill Harper on my podcast, and he was like, women want to, and this video went viral. Women want a combination between Denzel Washington, Jesus, and Barack Obama. And that is true. Women, especially women of a certain age or a certain status, are very, very picky. I hear women all the time talk about how picky they are. I literally, whoever asked to go out should pay.
Yes, that is what Geraldine says. Whoever asked out should pay. After that, it could go either way.
Okay.
Yeah, you see the look on Carrie's face.
No, I'm just, okay. I don't mind anyone else's philosophy. I am not telling anybody to do what I do. This is for me. So you can judge all you want. This is fine. But the men versus women conversation happens a lot in the Black community. I think it happens in general, though, but I think do too. Talk about it more because especially if your desire is to be with a Black man, I think it happens more and more. But what we are talking about in a bigger picture isn't the money. It is the way in which women are outpacing men. No matter what the background, community, culture, we're outpacing men in a lot of ways. And so the more that we continue to live different ways, to your point, $400 on a dinner is something we can do. Like, so when someone takes us out, we are not requiring for them to do anything we can't do for ourselves. Oftentimes I hear men complain, women want this much. When women say they want a man with 6 figures and he got to look like this and he got to live in a house and he got to da-da-da, and they don't bring that to the table. Yeah, I could see why men complain. I am not requiring anything that I don't already have. I am not telling you, and everybody in theory wants to date aspirationally, but I'm not saying, hey, you got to make more than me. You got to do this than me. You got to do that than me. If Carrie knows how to cook and clean up.
See how they doing you, Carrie? They ain't doing you right.
Girl.
I tell her, Carrie, but I got enough money and I know how to order. Anyway.
I expected that.
Yes.
And then let me stop. So yeah. I would, but my point being is that it's just a conversation, let me hold 1,000. It's just a hard conversation to have. And so when I explained to my responsible king, who said that one comment about 50-50, I'm going to update you guys on this gentleman in particular.
Yes, we need a responsible king update.
He simply said, he was like, you know what? You misunderstood what I was saying. What I was saying is that when times get hard, I need to know somebody's going to hold me down. That is a given.
That's a different convecation. That is not determined. By the way, a woman could treat you to dinner and might not be there for you. So like, that's not going to be determined by whether or not I buy you dinner. That's being determined by the character and the person that I am. A story Ian laughs about, and he has told this before publicly, is remember when we went to Fiji for my birthday?
Yeah.
So This is
remember.
Yes, this is a few years ago. Me, Carrie, a couple other of our good girlfriends at the time. We went to Fiji. I had planned this trip. This was how I was going to celebrate the year of my 40th year, right? Is that I was going to Australia and I was going to Fiji. And so I get to the Fiji part of the trip and I had invited him to come. You know, we started dating. I was like, yeah, you should come on to Fiji. He said, cool, I'm down. So I think he got there before I did. I think he did. Or I got there. I don't remember what order that we got there. I'm assuming it was him. So he put down his credit card, you know, and again, this is a resort where we were staying was a beautiful overwater bungalow.
We changed the lower third. Is Jemele wrong for making even ... When they just started dating.
Put it up there.
When they just started dating, you take some heat.
Yes, I will take some heat. So we had just started, you know, we had been dating for a little bit. But this trip is something that I had planned long before I met him. So like I didn't plan this trip because of him. I planned this trip because I had it in mind and it was one of my dream vacations. And so, yeah, so I think he got there first. He put his credit card down. And so when it came time to check out, I never put my credit card there, even though I had booked the room. Right.
I'm surprised that you didn't do that. You're not that kind of gal. You are very fair. You're not that. You aren't. And by the way, you was ordering up bottles of rosé like it was.
I was. I mean, yes.
Bottle. You was in the room.
And he cracks me up. He was like, when they showed me the hotel bill, he was like, I couldn't flinch. And like he wasn't saying it was too expensive, but he was saying in that moment, he said, okay, I have one of two choices. Is like, if this is her birthday trip. If I say something, then in some ways he's like, I look a certain way.
You look crazy.
But on the other hand, I just picked up about a $7,000 hotel bill that I didn't see coming.
And I'm just your boyfriend. I see both sides.
I know. I see both sides. And I told him you would not have been wrong to say like, you know, hey, I appreciate you inviting me. I realize this and this, but you know, can we have a conversation about this off to the side? But to his credit, he did not say a word, and
which is why he made it through.
And he made it through.
You see the moral of the story, responsible king. Chill. No, we just started dating. There's no point for you to bring up anything about 50-50 when you think about the future. We're not even in the future. We are in the present. Yes. And just chill. Like sometimes. Here's the message for men. You know how you back in the day said a man could talk himself out of some good loving?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Talk too much.
Yep.
Like you talking too much.
Yep.
If you be quiet, everything gonna be yours. Like that's all it was. Like
right.
if he was quiet, everything would have been his. It wouldn't have been, this is not a question. I have no problem picking up slack, paying for something. I'm not a selfish type woman. It doesn't matter if I can cook or clean. I can do all the things that a woman you wish you could have can't do. You know what I mean? And so I really know what I'm bringing to the table. And I'm not even trying to brag about it. I understand that. So that's why Responsible King comes back and says, I think you misunderstood what I was trying to say. I wasn't saying that I want you to go 50-50. In fact, let me take you out again. Like he's like walking it all back. And he understands that if you think about it, why would you even bring that up? I just started dating you. We're not even in the clear. Like you're still deciding if you want to be bothered with me, if I want to, and we're still deciding that. There should be no discussion about who's paying or who's going on the next day. No one should even have that conversation. It should be easy, light, and fun until it's time to get for real, which is why I love Ian for paying. That was an expensive ass bill. And if I was him, I would have been like, hey, where your card at?
Well, he had me cracking up, and this is, you know, once we were really serious, he was like, yeah, I noticed when you went out, when we go out on a date, he was just messing with me. He was like, you never even do the fake reach. I was like, I don't. I don't, but I do. But this is what people have to understand, especially once you get to a certain level. You're talking about the courting process, is that it all becomes relative. And you know, I have our first year that we were serious, I got my husband a Rolex for his birthday. All right. And so that's what I'm saying, is that it does, you know, when you feel like you are being taken care of, you will take care of the other person. It's very reciprocal. It's very reciprocal.
Why don't they understand that? a woman will always love hard and give you, if you get a good woman, the way you pick is up to you. If you out here like Bill Belichick and you want to be with somebody who's using you, have at it, right? Your picker is what you decide to get. But if you trust what you're doing, there's no need for you to tell me you want me to go 50-50 on anything, because I'm already have your back when it's time. It's all relative. This isn't the time. Like, why are you talking about this stuff right now?
Okay, so the big question is, are you going to give the responsible king another chance?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I feel, as you said a moment ago,
I think I need to reset. I do enjoy his company. I think I just need to reset. So I'm gonna just take a beat, which means no need to discuss it. If Dan Leberhard were here, put it on the poll. Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll.
Put it on the poll. Yes, right.
I'm thinking about it. Like I just want to make sure that what I'm triggered, the reasons why I'm triggered won't ever manifest again, and that I can give him a pure, honest second chance without holding some shit against him. So I'm thinking about it. He's not, Black history yet. You know what I mean? So we'll see. The second thing is what we didn't even get into. We're moving on from whether or not I'll update you next week.
We need an update about what happened to responsible king. Now, a lot of what you just discussed, and I realized when we met when we were talking pre-show that we didn't bring this up, but I feel like this is actually a perfect segue. So really a lot of that, what you discussed about the 50-50 thing and when you brought it up, is about kind of etiquette, right? Like, what is the etiquette for doing such thing? Now, you recently had an etiquette situation involving a party, and you were wondering whether or not this party etiquette was appropriate. Share with the class.
God, there's so many. And okay, here's a party etiquette, right? So let me two things. And I'm just gonna say, because you talked about etiquette in a way too. You had an etiquette story, right? That you wanted to.
Yes, I definitely had an etiquette story. Yeah.
Okay, do yours first. Tell yours first.
Okay. Well, actually, you should do yours first, because my etiquette story will lead to our conversation about Michael Jordan.
Okay, so two things. One, I had a birthday party, and me and my friends were. I had a birthday party last year, and by the way, just so you know, for those who think I'm cheap, I bought out a bar and a restaurant, and I invited everybody to come to my birthday party. And I was like, all drinks, all food on me. I'm not asking any man to pay for that. I'm just having, here you go. I even invited at the time a guy that I was seeing, you come, you don't have to pay, enjoy it. Everybody have a good time. It's on me. It's my birthday. That's the way I like to treat my friends. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, in the melee from leaving the bar to going back to my apartment here in New York, one of my friends was left behind. And somehow, I don't know what happened, because I was tipsy and it was my birthday and I was celebrating. And somehow something happened and she couldn't, I don't know, she just got left. She didn't make it to the house. And I kept calling her on my birthday, trying to find out where she was. And she came and then she left because she felt like I left her. She felt like during my birthday celebration, I intentionally left her behind for my other cool friends and not her. That's the way I perceived it. She couldn't really articulate it. So that's what I was able to take away. And so I felt like, and by the way, this has been building over the years. I felt like I've always been just very generous to her and always kind. And I just got fed up. And this was the last straw for me. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm too good to you. I know that for a fact. I'm good to your children. I'm good to the people around you. I always show up for you. Nah, you can't just leave my birthday party because you felt like I ignored you on a night where I wasn't really aware of what was happening. So that's one instance. And I was just really put out by her. Fast forward, not long ago, a friend asked me to go to his birthday party. And I was waiting downstairs in the lobby and I was texting him and I was like, they're not letting me in. Can you come down and get me? He's like, well, just tell her you're on the list. And I'm telling the lady I'm on the list, and the lady's like, no, you're not. Now my ego's getting involved. And I'm like, hey, can you come down? He's like, yeah, I'll be down in a minute. I didn't want him to leave his party, but the lady was not letting me in. And that was the only way that I could get into the party. And so I was like, okay, I'm leaving. I didn't want to come anyway. Like, my ego is just like, no. And also I'm just like an auntie. I'm like, I'm tired. I'll go home. I don't want to do this. I've done this all my life. I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. I leave, and he gets so upset. He's like, how dare you leave the party? That's so rude. I would never do that to you. You made me he said, I made him leave his actual birthday party and come down a flight of stairs. And it really just threw him off for the rest of the night. That really threw off his party. And I was like, Okay, that's ridiculous. But it's no more ridiculous than how I felt about how my friend responded, because everything is personal. His feelings are valid, her feelings are valid, my feelings are valid.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bigger picture, I don't think that I was wrong for feeling what I was feeling. I feel like, especially for my birthday party. And then with his birthday party, I said, you're right. You're allowed to have that feeling, but I don't think anybody did anything wrong. What is your take? Did I do something wrong by leaving his party?
My take on the first situation with the friend who thought that you were ignoring them. And when it's somebody's birthday, they should be allowed to make that entire environment about them. And so if I see you having fun and like enjoying yourself, why would I think I would be the center of the attention? Or why would I put you in a situation where you felt like you had to pay attention to me? It's your birthday. I had this conversation with my mother. She was visiting me for Mother's Day weekend. And as you know, I have a milestone birthday coming up later this year. And, you know, my plan is I will be gone. I will be in the wind, right? And so my mom was like, well, I mean, I did have something to do with you being born. I want to be a part of whatever you're doing. And I said, hey, I got a question. And I was like, I'm really not trying to be rude when I say this, but is your birthday about me or you? Or is my birthday about me or you? Whose birthday is it? I had to remind her, and I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it. But the whole thing is that by you inserting yourself in my birthday plans, then it becomes about you. It's really actually not about me. So I feel like with your friend, it was kind of,
it became about her. It was all about her.
It was about her. And so like that to me was a party foul. It's like, don't make it about you on someone else's day.
I did say that to her. We did have that conversation. But her ego wouldn't allow her to be honest. As far as my friend, he's absolutely, thank you, G. As for my friend, I left. I did a pretty graceful dismount. It wasn't about him. I just was like, hey, can you come get me? Because I can't get in. And it wasn't like he had to leave the actual party, jump in a car and come pick me up. It was like, you took an elevator downstairs. You didn't see me. You got mad. I apologize. Enjoy your party. And I was texting as much. You're like, hey, no, don't come down. Enjoy your party. I know you're having a good time. But it became about me because I left. And I understand why he was upset. So I did say, I understand why you feel that way. I don't think I was dead wrong. But in these instances, everybody, and I'm talking to myself, especially when it's a party environment, the drinks are flowing, people are laughing and having a good time. You can't expect anybody to be a responsible thinking adult in those types of environments. And if they aren't, and you see it, you still got to give them some grace. The people who are at the party, the birthday party thrower, you have to give these people grace. And you're this in your mind, you're like, why is this even a conversation? But to me, it's never really about the incident in the moment. It's some other shit that's been going on in the relationship that y'all haven't discussed yet.
Yeah. And in this case, it could be just about general sensitivity on their birthday. And so like, it could be that, but I guess I'm of the belief that, especially when it comes to party situations, sometimes it could be a bit of a free for all. People get separated. All kinds of things.
You left me at many event. Not even left me, y'all. She's left me on purpose. Like somebody's like, "Hey, Jemele, I'm gonna sneak you into the VIP." She's like, "Deuces." Like Jemele is queen of being like, only one VIP. Well, then I'm gonna sneak on out. And I don't know.
Especially in those events that we tend to go to, which are, they do have some profile to them. They're involving, celebrities and people that people talk about. I remember a few years ago when we were in Toronto at the NBA All-Star game where it was -100. It was cold as shit outside. And we snuck into the Michael Jordan party.
Yet again.
Well, I don't know if it's a true well, it wasn't a complete sneak. Yeah, it wasn't a complete sneak. So we got let in at the door, right? And they just happened to recognize us. We got let in at the door. We weren't formally invited, but they knew who they were, so they let us in, right? So we go in there, we're with our homegirls. It's so many people there, a ton of NBA players, all kinds of famous people, because Michael Jordan's party is one of the signature parties of NBA All-Star Weekend. And if you recall, Cari, we somehow got wind of the fact that Michael Jordan had his own VIP. And so naturally we are thinking, oh, we about to go up in the VIP, right? Like we got to make it back there.
I love how Jemele tells this story, y'all. But go ahead. I have my own version when I set it up. Go ahead.
Right. So, the game plan began. The game plan began to form. How are we gonna make it up into the Jordan VIP? Because we heard LeBron was back there, Drake was back there, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Gab, and D Wade. Like everybody was back in the VIP. So we're like, all right, we're gonna make it up in there. So we saw Paul George. And I don't remember if we chit-chatted, or I don't even remember if any of us knew him, but he had about 20 homies with him, and they were going back to the VIP. And so, you know how it's a train of people. We just latched on at the end of the train. And when the bouncer was like, oh, they all with you? And Paul was just like, yeah. So we all got in there.
Yeah.
So the thing is, one of our homegirls who somehow became separated from us, she is left back with G and Pop. Okay, she's left. I didn't realize she wasn't with us. I don't think any of us realized that, right? So we get in the VIP. That's where we had that very long conversation with Michael Jordan, where I think we talked to LeBron. We had ourselves a time. We get in there, of course, we realize ain't no damn drinks back there, but that's beside the point. Okay, right? But we knew in that environment, because it was small, it was tucked away, that you couldn't leave and come back in. So even if we knew, there was no way we were going to be able to get her in there, right? So this particular person got very upset about the fact they felt like we left
trying to get her in there, if we're being honest, though.
Well, to me, it's just latch onto the train.
So Jemele's saying party etiquette when you are at these parties where you don't know if you can get in past the VI, VVVIIPPP, you got to just stick together. If you see somebody you know and you want to say a casual hi, it's like, hey girl, hey, you know what I'm saying right here. I'll come back when I can. Like you're like, I'm not trying to, unless I'm comfortable with the situation, because people are real funny style in these Hollywood parties.
Yes.
But I do remember, I don't remember how we got in. I just remember I just felt like somebody just let us in.
No, we got in. I'm pretty sure we got in on Paul George's.
Okay, yeah, I remember something vaguely like that, but I also remember in the corner it was Allen Iverson, Carmelo and Lala, D Wade and Gabby, Westbrook and LeBron and his wife, Westbrook and his wife. It was All-Star Weekend, so everybody was there. This is what I do remember very vividly. Michael Jordan was walking up to the VIP section, and we were standing at the stairs of where his VIP section was, and we did not know it was his VIP section. It was the Jordan party, but we didn't know he was going to his own section. And first we see Ahmad Rashad, then we see Jordan come in. Jordan stops and starts talking to me. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, hi, I don't know what you're saying. I was so nervous, y'all. I grabbed Jemele. I was like, hey, Jemele, hey, come say hi. I was just I didn't know what was happening. I was like, why is Michael Jordan talking to me right now? What is happening? What does he think I'm an old lover? Does he think I'm an old flame? It wasn't me. Does he remember that one time? No, I'm kidding. But I was just like, and so from that moment on, the entire situation changed. There was no way you were walking away from talking to Michael Jordan, who was letting us interview him. Like we were asking him questions upon question.
And most importantly, Cari, he wanted to talk.
He was like, his friends were like, sorry, come with us, like tapping. And he was like, no, I'm good. I want to talk to these ladies. What's up? I was like, oh, we got it. And he was just sitting there talking to us all night. Now I tell this story because this is wild. Do you remember what Mike Wilbon told us? Michael Jordan was there with his, I think, then girlfriend, soon to be fiance, wife. Do you remember what
I feel like maybe they were married, or if they were married, they were freshly married. Like it wasn't that long.
Beautiful woman sitting there, so quiet, so perfect. The whole time he talked, this had to be an hour, maybe 45 minutes. People were trying to get his attention, not his wife, but other people were trying to tell him, hey, come sit down. He's like, no, like leave me alone. I'm busy. And I remember Mike Wilbon telling a story when we told him when we met Jordan. He was like, Michael chose her for a very specific reason. And this might be considered toxic mentality, but he chose her for a very specific reason. He was like, he brought her to a party that I had at the house. Wilbon says he brought her to a party that I had at the house. And he spent the whole night talking to everybody else, working the room. He left her by herself for a few hours, then came back and checked on her, said she was good. Then he left again. And he was like, and they were like, Mike, you're not going to check on old girl? Like, what are you doing? Whatever. And he said, she has to get used to this. I'm Michael Jordan. People are always going to want my attention, and I need to make sure she's okay with the type of lifestyle that she's about to be introduced to. Because being with me sometimes means I'm paraphrasing, sometimes means I'm not going to be able to give you all the attention that you need because people are constantly grabbing at me. It made me think two things. One, I was like, she was playing a long game and she gets it. And maybe that is her personality. Maybe she generally didn't care. But when I say she sat there quietly paying attention and watching and listening and smiling, because we were trying to engage her in the party. We were like, ha, ha, like bringing her in. And he's basically like, there's no need to bring her in. She's okay with that. Some see that as offensive, but I really understood what he was saying at that moment. Some people could say that's a toxic mentality, but I got what he was saying because he's like, I'm Michael Jordan. Like wherever we go, it's going to be a scene.
Right.
So are you okay with this lifestyle? And I have to, in my version, I like you and I want to be with you, but got to really make sure you're okay with it.
Yeah, no, and you know what? That was an astute observation by our homie Michael Wilbon, because a lot of people want to think in their mind they want to be with famous people, but it takes a certain temperament. You have to be truly egoless, and you have to be okay with that person always being the center of attention in whatever room that you go in. And considering the international adoration for Michael Jordan, it's just like, yeah, you're gonna be second, if not third fiddle, if not fourth or fifth fiddle sometimes, depending on what the situation is. All the time. And so you know, good for him from a maturity standpoint for understanding that, like, I need a type of woman who understands that my life is set up a certain way. And you know, I think that people often, the things sometimes that attract them to other people sometimes become the things that drive a wedge between them. Like it's all cute and fun and games when you're dating or when you're engaged, but then when it's marriage and it's day to day and you have to deal with that, then it's something completely different.
Which speaks of all the conversations we've been talking about today. Relationships. I need to make sure that you understand some things are just unwritten. They don't need to be said. They're like, leave it as is. Like some stuff is just a given. And if you don't know it's a given, maybe we can't be in this world together. If you don't know that I am already going to be a generous person, and of course, if you my man, I'm gonna hold you down. I'm not the type of girl to pack my bags up when stuff gets, bad. Like I'm not, that's nothing, none of that speaks to my character. But I'll tell you what, every woman to this point here could not handle that situation.
Not at all.
Every woman could not handle that situation. And sometimes it's even cultural. Sometimes it's even cultural. I could hear I've told many Black women that story and they've been like, not me. He couldn't do that to me. And I'm all like, yeah, well, he's aware.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like,
I told you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, yeah. And you have to be okay with the circumstances. And that to me, friend, is called emotional IQ. How intelligent.
Yes.
I'm looking for a high emotional IQ because sometimes some stuff just doesn't need to be said. Speaking of Jordan, he's supposed to be, as we wrap this up, our boy's supposed to be a contributor for NBC Sports when they get the basketball lineup. And look at that smile. By the way, this is what I'm going to tell you what I hope, because it felt very vague in what he was doing. It sounds like it's a loose commitment. I do not want to see Michael Jordan sitting behind a desk with a suit on, analyzing a game during halftime. I want to see him in his smoking chair at home with some Cincoro and a cigar and some bloodshot eyes, speaking the real. That's what it better be.
You know what? I wanted him to be as open as he was in his documentary.
That's right. In a smoking chair with some Cincoro, bloodshot, whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
And listen, I know that there has been this conversation, among NBA fans and in the media about, they feel like older players hate too much on younger players. Okay, we can debate whether or not that's actually true. The one thing I'm looking forward to is the commentary, or however they use him, from this player, because see, what he says to me is just intrinsically different than what other analysts, other former NBA players will say. Because like Mike, you know what I love about Michael Jordan, and that's a strong sentence given the fact that I'm from Detroit and we were just born to just preternaturally hate Michael Jordan because of the Detroit Pistons and the Chicago Bulls.
God, man, I ain't never met no group of people that live in
No, I mean, this is the thing, is that what I appreciate about Michael Jordan is that he is, one of the reasons he's an icon is because he understands mystery. Like even if you want to cross it up, like even if you want to look at some of our entertainers, like we talked about Cher earlier, dating the younger man. Cher still is a mystery,
For
right?
sure.
Madonna's still a mystery.
For sure.
And so Michael Jordan understands to be very picky and careful about what he does. The reason why The Last Dance was considered to be such a terrific and fantastic documentary is because we still didn't know shit about Michael Jordan years and years later. And that to me is important. I think in today's time where so many superstars are all over social media, a lot of them feel oversaturated. This is one of the few times where a network hires a personality, and I'm thinking, I can't wait to hear what they have to say.
Correct. Yeah. You and I 100%. I can't wait to hear it. And guess what? Not only can we wait, do you understand how many NBA players, if not every NBA player, will be listening to what this man has to say? I'll be very curious to see which ones, quote unquote, disrespect him, try to push back on his feedback, have something to say about his thoughts on their particular style of play. I don't think he's going to be overly critical. I think he's always done this thing. Like when he was talking to you and I, we asked him who the GOAT was, and he said at that time he would pay money to see Russell Westbrook play.
He did. Yep. He said
closest
that.
to him was Kobe Bryant. May he rest in peace. I am curious to see, I don't think he'll be critical, but I do think that he will offer a very middle of the road response because everybody will take what he says to heart. Like what he says could change the way teams start practicing. You know what I mean? The way players are shooting the ball, like who knows? So I think he'll be in one of those spaces, but I just don't want him to be suited and booted in a space that doesn't feel comfortable. I want him in his 49ers sweatshirt with his hair pulled back. I want him sitting in his New York living room with a tank top on because it got hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I want that. I want him to bring an Unc vibe, like a fun Unc vibe, fun for real uncle vibe. I'm with you. Like Jordan has never come off as the guy who hates on younger generation or is out here proclaiming himself to be the greatest. Like he doesn't, that's not really his thing. So I'm really curious as to how NBC can creatively use him. Like I'd love to see him sit down with other players and then just kind of chop it up, especially players of this generation. Like, even though I know for the players playing currently, Kobe and LeBron are probably very much the poster on their wall, they still understand the reverence for Michael Jordan. Yeah. And I would love to see him in a situation where he were talking to younger players or the superstars of today about the game, about their experiences, because I bet that they would be honest and real with him in ways that they, probably aren't with anybody because it's Michael Jordan. So I think that this will be kudos to NBC for getting this, because it's not easy to get Michael Jordan to do anything.
Well, but that's why the statement was so loose. Like, we don't really know how he's going to be contributing to the format.
Right.
And you're right. Fred is right. I think Ant will be the first one to disrespect, but just trying to.
But in a playful way, right?
Because you can't disrespect the man who's still feeding you to this day. So the reality is that I think it's a great gift for them. I just hope they use him in a way that makes sense. Sometimes a lot of people behind the scenes have these great ideas and they take the magic away because they want to put you in a box and do a format that feels right. And coming out of break, we're going to do this, and going to break, we're going to do this, and that was the beauty of Inside the NBA. Two last things before I let you go, because we're only supposed to do this for an hour. I'm really, really, really curious now that we're going to do this I think we're doing this for the next 4 Tuesdays. So you guys tune in. What happens with Unc? What happens with our Unc?
Are you referring to Shannon Sharp?
Shannon Sharp. We really, really do. But I wonder what happens with Unc. I think all of the videos that are coming out with the comments that he's saying about dating older women, what it looks like, and what happened, and why older women got a bad attitude, and these young girls are cool, and older women are in competition. He has this versus young versus old. Mm-hmm. I hate how all of that is now coming to light, and they're using it against him, because I think he genuinely has some affection I think he does date older women. I do believe that
okay.
A dalliance with an older woman and by older, I mean maybe 30s, 40s, like not his age, but maybe 30s, 40s. I wonder how this will all play out, because I watched him work so hard to get to where he is after having his moment where he was like put on the bench, because sometimes you're on timeout for whatever reasons. And I wonder how this all works out. What I did notice, because we brought up the Tracy Ellis Ross comments about how they were in her DMs giving her, or her messages giving her a hard time for dating younger men. And a lot of men support Shannon Sharpe. A lot of people said they felt like it was a setup. A lot of people had his back. And I thought to myself, it's so unfortunate that we are now discussing that. Like, I don't want to see anybody's downfall, especially not Unc. He don't deserve it. But I wonder, are we always the ones who get in our own way?
This is
that's the theory question.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what can be the problem sometimes is that when you do rise to a certain level of fame or popularity, that you become insulated from certain things. And to some degree, you let your guard down because you feel like the money will protect you. And it won't. You still have to move and operate a certain way. And one thing we know, especially as Black people, is that we can't move like they move. We cannot do that. And because we know the consequences for actions, the consequences for our actions, whether they be real or perceived, will be far worse than it will be for other people, because that's just a lot that we have drawn. And so, what I think will be, for me, what is the takeaway from this, or what will happen to him, rather, to address your question, I don't think he'll be back at ESPN. Because you know how ESPN is that ESPN, like, there's just certain headlines, especially with Disney being the parent company, they don't want a part of at all. It's certain types of attention I don't think that they want. So I think his days at ESPN are done. But I do think, and this is the thing, is that he should be very thankful that he started something for himself. So Nightcap, Club Shay Shay, I think those things continue as is. Like, I don't think that part of his business will be hurt at all, because I think how those forums and formats are looked at are way differently than ESPN, because at the end of the day, ESPN is corporate media. Yeah, but here's the thing. A lot of his jokes, a lot of the things that people that made him go viral were, outside of Club Shay Shay, were him talking about his personal life, that my Michelle, who he dates, what he likes, how many minutes he putting in, what kind of good thunder he's bringing, or lack thereof. I don't know anything. All of that was information I never needed to know about him. So my point being is that what made him funny and hilarious was this man was out here like, listen, I'm old and I like these young things. He was telling us the truth. He was like, this is what I want. This is what I like. My Michelle, where's she at? Like, all of these, Lord. You know what I mean? I know. Take me out the group chat. Please, I don't want it. I don't want it. Move me out of this group chat. I don't want it. But my hope is that, and I think I'm surprised you said you think ESPN, he won't be back. I think they'll give him grace. I just do. They've always given men more grace than they give women. They do. I just think the types of headlines, these are a little bit different because so much, between the recordings and all this. And then they're also, to be honest, they have to think about what he disclosed himself, is that there is a video, and ESPN don't want no parts of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, none. They don't want him to be on First Take one day and next thing you know, TMZ, we got the video. They like, not on our watch. No. You don't want to see Michelle? Never in life did I ever want you to be curious about what Michelle looked like. I wanted to burn that from my brain. I did. I want to burn that from my brain. You don't want to see Michelle? No. Well, there is a level of curiosity. There is a level of curiosity, but I'll say this: based off what we've already seen, I have a feeling, and I'm just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm good. I'm like, no mystery here. No mystery here. Well, look, Cari, I would say that our first week of doing this went swimmingly well, and thank you to all of you.
Swimmingly well, auntie.
Swimmingly well.
Yeah, auntie.
Yes.
Use your auntie words. All right.
And,
Look,
and
tell these youngins come back and watch Auntie 1 and 2 when they get a chance. Lots of fun.
Yes, come back. And by the way, somebody who they said it in the chat, who used to listen to us when we went live on Periscope when we called ourselves the aunties. They were like, y'all should name it the aunties. I was like, Lord, we're gonna bring it back.
We're gonna lean all the way into this big age. I guess I do. Fine.
Yes, I guess so. But no, I think it went great. And as Cari said, and as you see at the bottom of the screen there, make sure that you join us every Tuesday the rest of the month.
Yeah.
We'll be here at 1 p.m. Eastern, or 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern if you are on the East Coast. And again, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah,
auntie, and here are the instructions.
Yes, that's right.
Subscribe.
That's darn it. You better subscribe. Gosh dang it.
Gosh darn it. You better go ahead and subscribe. Also, don't forget, can I get an icon?
Yes, I will get you an icon. I will get your I can get your Naked with Cari champion icon.
Yeah,
I'll get it.
You're selfish.
Well, because it was already pre-programmed. I didn't think about the icon there, but I'll make sure that we get it. Okay.
That would have did it for me.
I know. I know. That's okay. I ain't trying to leave my homegirl out there. You know, I like to treat my ladies right. So I'm not gonna do you that way.
Ladies right. All right. We'll be back next week with more just talking ish on a Tuesday.
Yep, talking ish on a Tuesday. See y'all next week.
Bye.